You did not get to this moment by accident. Long before you knew it, something about you was noticed. Not your beliefs, not your background, not even your success, but your thinking pattern. The way you questioned instead of followed. The way you sensed problems where others felt comfortable. The way pressure never fully erased your sense of who you are. These are not common traits, and systems built on influence know exactly how to spot them. Here's the truth most people never hear. Cults and high-control groups do not only look for weak people, they also watch strong, resistant minds. People who think for themselves but still have deep emotions, curiosity, and the power to influence others. These minds are either shut down, pulled in, or tested. Many moments in your past that felt confusing, lonely, or intense were not pointless struggles. They were exposure points moments meant to see how you react under mental pressure. That is why this matters, because understanding it takes away confusion and replaces it with clarity. What you are feeling now is a shift from reacting to being aware. You are noticing behavior before you see the true goal. You are spotting manipulation without getting pulled into it emotionally. Your mind is getting quieter, sharper, and more selective. That is what it means to be unlocked. Not awakened in a magical way, but no longer easy to program. From now on, choices will feel heavier, timing will matter more, and silence will start to feel powerful instead of empty. If you stay, you will learn how influence systems really work, how selection testing happens in real life, and how to protect your freedom without paranoia or rebellion. This is not motivation. This is learning based on psychology, behavior, and real life. Once you see it, you cannot unsee it. And that is when your past stops feeling like chaos and starts making sense as preparation. Before we begin this transformative message, take a brief moment to pause the video and complete 3 quick actions. Click the like button. Subscribe to support our journey toward 5,000 subscribers. Leave a comment with the number 77. Some people stand out long before they even realize it. It is not about being loud, flashy, or lucky. It is about the invisible traits your mind carries. People who observe deeply, who ask questions no one else dares to ask, and who notice patterns others ignore naturally get attention. History has many examples. Albert Einstein, a quiet and thoughtful child, is already breaking the world apart in his mind in ways adults could not understand. The moment your mind starts seeing links others miss, the world starts watching. Sometimes with admiration, sometimes with caution. Being noticed early is not always a gift. It is a responsibility. Power structures from companies to political systems instinctively. Notice people whose minds and emotions suggest future influence. A child who challenges authority. A teen who questions right and wrong. An adult who resists groupthink. These are the kinds of people who get marked as unusual or special. You may not realize it, but your quick thinking, curiosity, strong emotions are visible to anyone who understands the human mind. The good news is that noticing you have been noticed can change your life. When you understand why you attract attention, you can choose how to respond. Instead of being used or pushed aside, you can turn that visibility into your advantage. It is about taking control of your life's story, turning quiet recognition into power, opportunity, and freedom. Your mind is not a problem. It is a compass pointing toward potential greatness. From your earliest years, your experiences shape not only who you become, but also how others judge your potential. Childhood trauma, deep curiosity, or times of loneliness leave marks that skilled observers can often spot. Sociologists and psychologists have studied this closely. Children who think independently, care deeply about right and wrong, or show unusual empathy are often noticed in quiet ways, seen as future leaders or possible threats. These signals do not disappear. They form a pattern that can follow you into adulthood. Think about how some people seem to face constant problems or bad luck when they are young. These can be tests of resilience, ways to see how the mind handles pressure. People who adapt, reflect, solve problems instead of collapsing, slowly build a mental and emotional profile that stands out, even if they do not notice it. Every choice, every reaction, and even small moments of defiance or cleverness leave clues in how the world sees you. Understanding this gives you power. When you realize your childhood experiences painful or eye-opening are not only scars, but signs of unique ability, you can take back your story. Instead of being defined by what happened to you, you can use it as proof of your strength. Every early challenge was practice for a bigger stage in life, and the skills you've built without realizing it are the same ones that make you noticeable to people who study potential, influence, and power. The idea of being on a chosen list can make people feel proud or jealous, but the truth is, it is rarely about reward. It is about possible risk or advantage. Organizations, leaders, and even controlling systems have always looked for people who can change outcomes. Being chosen does not mean you earned praise. It means someone decided you could make an impact for good or bad. To them, you are both an opportunity and a threat. In history, societies and movements have done this quietly. Governments track innovators who might disrupt industries. Intelligence agencies watch thinkers who question rules. And organizations watch employees whose creativity could challenge authority. Being on this kind of list is proof of rare ability, but it is also a warning. It means you are powerful enough to matter, so you may be watched, guided, or tested. The empowering truth is that understanding this gives you leverage. Instead of feeling trapped or afraid, you can handle this attention wisely, turning what could have been pressure into self-trust and opportunity. The chosen list becomes a mirror. It shows who you could become and what you carry if you refuse to be shaped by other people's expectations. Many people think cults and controlling systems only target people who are easy to fool. But they also want people with fire in their eyes, the ones who question, challenge, and push limits. Strong-willed people can think for themselves, stay strong under pressure, and influence others. That makes them extremely valuable to anyone trying to control or direct human potential, but also dangerous if left alone. Think about charismatic leaders and big movements in history. They often recruited the most insightful or rebellious people first. Those people could influence others, spread messages, and strengthen power structures. Psychologists call this the leadership magnet effect. People who are self-aware, confident, and independent are often quietly tested before they are pulled into influence systems. The stronger the mind, the more carefully it is watched. The lesson here is not fear. It is empowerment through understanding. When you know your strength and independence draw attention, you can choose your connections wisely, avoid traps, and build your own path. Your freedom is precious. Protecting it is not paranoia. It is strategy. The stronger your mind, the more careful you must be about where and how you spend your energy. The human brain can be amazingly flexible, especially in people who think differently. Neuroscientists have found that nonlinear thinkers, people who connect separate ideas, predict outcomes, and see patterns in chaos are rare. Their brains often show stronger connections between parts linked to creativity, intuition, and logical thinking. This is not only being smart, it is mental toughness that makes manipulation and brainwashing harder. An unlocked mind brings both benefits and challenges. You can handle complex problems, predict behavior, and create new ideas under pressure. But you also see threats, inconsistencies, and traps that others miss. This can feel lonely or even overwhelming, but it is also your greatest strength. Being free from normal thinking patterns gives you a kind of freedom most people never feel. Neuroscience also shows that people like this can train themselves to grow these skills. Meditation helps focus. Pattern exercises strengthen mental connections. And reflective journaling builds self-awareness. In other words, being unlocked is not a fixed thing. It is a path you can build on purpose. Learning how your mind works and sharpening it intentionally is how you move from being noticed to being untouchable. It's resilient and empowered. Many people confuse spiritual sensitivity with weakness. The truth is, people who notice the unseen, feel deeply, and read emotions quickly are very powerful. But that also makes them easy to spot for people who want control. Cults, manipulative leaders, and controlling systems often twist these gifts, turning intuition and empathy into dependence. They use the variability that helps you see truth. But spiritual awareness can also protect you. People who notice energy patterns in human behavior can spot lies, detect hidden plans, and move through chaos with clarity. Philosophers and psychologists have shown that self-awareness plus emotional intelligence helps people resist manipulation. So your sensitivity is not weakness. It is an early warning system that can guide your choices with accuracy others do not have. The next step is integration. Meditation, reflection, and mindful observation turn raw sensitivity into strategic insight. When you ground intuition in logic and action, you turn what could have been a weakness into a strong advantage. Spiritual awareness, when trained on purpose, becomes a tool for personal power, helping you live with compassion and unshakable. Clarity, cult, in the broadest meaning, is a group organized around shared beliefs, practices, or a central authority, and it often demands strong loyalty, sameness, and control over members' thoughts or behavior. Cult theory studies how these groups attract people, influence them, and keep control, using psychological, social, and sometimes spiritual methods. Most cults center on a charismatic leader or idea that shapes identity, morals, and how people see reality, often creating an us versus them mindset. Some groups may look harmless or community-based, but cult theory points out the quiet ways influence can reduce freedom, manipulate feelings, and use weaknesses, especially in people who are sensitive, intuitive, or searching for purpose. Understanding cult dynamics gives important insight into human behavior, persuasion, and why self-awareness matters for resisting unfair control. Life, on purpose or not, is full of hidden tests. Systems, workplace, social, or manipulative often test independent minds before fully pulling them in. This can look like rejection, moral choices, peer pressure, or sudden problems meant to watch your reaction. These moments feel unfair, but they reveal things. They show your strength, judgment, and ability to think strategically. Psychologists call this behavioral probing. Small pressures or strange moments meant to see how someone reacts when things are uncertain. People who resist manipulation, think independently, and act with honesty get marked as different right away. In reality, it is not punishment. It is the world noticing patterns of influence and potential in you. Every challenge becomes a data point others use to guess how far you can go and how much control you really have. The empowering truth is that awareness changes the game. When you recognize these tests, you can respond on purpose instead of reacting. Emotionally, using the moment to build mental strength and increase mastery. Life's quiet trials are not walls. They are chances to prove your independence, sharpen decision-making, and take control of your own mind's story. Ego can be a dangerous trap. Being noticed can make you want to stand out, be admired, or prove you are better. Recognition can feel good, but chasing outside approval makes you predictable. It's easy to manipulate, and easy to steer for people who understand how badly humans want attention. Cults, company hierarchies, and manipulative networks know this, and they use it carefully. Real power comes from being grounded in yourself and approving yourself from within. Philosophers from Epictetus to modern psychologists remind us that outside signs of importance do not last. Mastery starts with self-control, reflection, and deliberate action. When you shift from wanting to feel special to wanting to be effective, you remove the hooks manipulators use. Your focus becomes skill, clarity, and impact, not applause. The practical path is simple but deep. Journal often, question your motives, and regularly check your choices. Are you acting for praise or for real influence? Are your choices true to you, or are they driven by the need to be admired? Escaping ego makes your power sustainable, harder for manipulators to see, and aligned with your highest potential, turning attention into strategic advantage instead of weakness. Pattern recognition is not just a skill. It is a superpower. Being able to connect clues others miss, predict outcomes, and spot hidden structures sets you apart everywhere. Strong leaders, strategists, and innovators are often great at seeing patterns, whether they know it or not. From market changes to human behavior, People who see patterns can make choices before chaos becomes obvious. But pattern recognition, without training, can feel too heavy. Seeing connections without a plan can lead to anxiety, indecision, or overthinking. The difference between normal noticing and real strategy is focused attention learning, not only to see patterns, but to act on them with precision. This turns awareness into power, insight into influence, and foresight into freedom. What matters is using it. Write down what you notice, study results, test ideas, and track links in your life and work. Over time, your ability to connect dots will help you spot opportunities early, avoid traps, and act with decisiveness others admire but cannot copy. Pattern recognition is your mind's compass. Learning to aim it turns what you notice into mastery. In a world that loves attention, silence is often underestimated. The moment you reveal too much about your thoughts, plans, or abilities, you give tools to people who want to guide or control you. Leaders, strategists, and innovators in history often used restraint as power. By speaking less and watching more, you gain an advantage others do not notice. Silence also creates mystery and respect. People often underestimate someone who does not show off feelings or skills. It gives you room to move, learn, and act, while others reveal their plans openly. From psychological warfare to everyday negotiation, quiet observation is powerful. It allows planning and preparation that reactive minds cannot reach. In real life, silence is discipline. Learn to think before you speak, reflect before you react, and hold back judgments when they are not needed. This turns what looks like doing nothing into strategic invisibility, letting the world test and reveal itself to you first. In silence, you do not just survive. You control the story, becoming both unseen and untouchable. The world is full of quiet pressure and hidden influence, but certain tools help you stay mentally free. First is emotional regulation, knowing your triggers, controlling your responses, and refusing to react to manipulation. Thinking tools like critical thinking, pattern analysis, and reflection help you separate facts from attempts to influence you. Together, these build mental armor that protects your freedom. Another key tool is constantly checking your beliefs and assumptions. Many controlling systems win by getting people to accept things without questioning. By regularly questioning what you believe, looking at other views, and searching for evidence, you make sure your choices are yours, not installed by social, work, or ideological pressure. Knowledge becomes a weapon when you use it on purpose. Awareness is a quiet but powerful kind of strength. Just noticing manipulation patterns or opportunities can start changing your life almost automatically. Neuroscience shows that focused attention reshapes the brain. Your senses sharpen. Your choices line up better. Paths you could not see before become visible. Awareness is the first step to freedom in a world full of hidden forces. Think about people in history who changed systems just by noticing what others ignored. Spotting exploitation, unfairness, or opportunity helped them act before pressure became too big. Awareness turns simple noticing into a mental advantage, turning possible chaos into a plan without needing direct conflict. The practical lesson is simple. Train your mind to see, not just react. Think about your choices, question motives, and track patterns around you. As your awareness grows, you move from being controlled to being in control. And the world reacts to you differently, even before you take your first step. Awareness does not only change what you notice, it changes who you are. Life tests us all the time, often in ways we miss. Small problems, surprise setbacks, or conflict with people are not random. They work like selection tools, showing your strength, judgment, and flexibility. These hidden tests give you chances to show you can handle uncertainty while staying clear and honest. Psychologists call this micro-stress conditioning. Repeated small trials shape how you handle bigger crises. People who handle them with self-control, reflection, and strategy become stronger and more capable. Each test is a signal. Passing it improves your ability to handle real pressure, unnoticed by others, but essential for long-term growth. The empowering truth is that awareness turns these moments into advantage. When you recognize life's tests, you can respond with strategy instead of instinct, using each experience to build mental strength, sharpen decision-making, and prepare for opportunities others never see. What looks like random hardship is often the universe training you for mastery. The world tests your boundaries all the time. People may poke, challenge, or manipulate you not always because they are mean, but because your reaction gives them information and a chance. When you understand this, provocation stops being a trap and becomes a tool. Every attack is a mirror showing perception, influence, and control. Emotional intelligence helps you turn provocation into power. Instead of reacting fast, you study intent, predict what comes next, and use the moment to take control strategically. Leaders and negotiators in history often turned opposition into leverage, gaining advantage where others would let things explode into chaos. A practical method is pause, assess, and respond only when it helps you. When you choose how and when to engage, you turn provocation into stronger authority, sharper judgment, and a stronger presence. What others meant as manipulation becomes fuel for mastery, insight, and real advantage. Power is rarely built by rushing. People who act without thinking waste energy, reveal plans too soon, or miss chances. Real mastery is patience and smart. Timing, knowing influence grows quietly before anyone admits it. Patience is not doing nothing. It is active watching. When you stay alert, study patterns, and build resources, you set yourself up to act with force when the moment arrives. Examples from military planners to business leaders show that waiting on purpose multiplies impact, turning small actions into life-changing results. Why this knowledge matters. Understanding what this script explains is not just an idea. It changes you. In a world full of hidden influence, manipulation, and quiet pressure, most people live by reacting, letting outside forces shape their choices, feelings, and results. When you notice the quiet signals others respond to, and you master patience, emotional control, and strategic thinking, you step into real freedom and strong influence that is hard to shake. This matters beyond personal success. Building awareness, pattern recognition, and resilience improves relationships, career results, and decision-making. It helps you act from strength, insight, and opportunity instead of fear, ego, or social pressure. In short, this knowledge helps you move through life with precision, purpose, and long-term advantage. Also, the spiritual, philosophical, and psychological parts of this approach build inner calm, emotional steadiness, and clarity, qualities that make you strong against stress and manipulation while increasing your ability to lead, influence, and make real impact. How do you use this knowledge? Using it as both strategic and consistent. Start with self-awareness. Watch your habits, triggers, and thinking patterns. Journal what you learn so you understand how others may see you. Pair that with mindful watching of the world around you, noticing patterns, hidden pressure, and possible opportunities. Next, build mental and emotional strength through reflection, meditation, and deliberate practice in patience, strategic withdrawal, and controlled response. Build a personal philosophy that guides choices, protects freedom, and matches action with long-term goals. Practice pattern recognition by studying situations, predicting what might happen, and testing ideas in everyday life. Finally, bring these skills into daily life. Treat every challenge as a chance to test awareness, improve strategy, and grow influence. Choose your network carefully. Stay observant and decide on purpose when to act and when to wait. Over time, combining awareness, timing, emotional control, and strategic action turns possible weakness into untouchable mastery, making you someone who naturally attracts opportunity, respect, and reward. When you understand how the world reads your patterns, stay calm under pressure, build mental armor, and act with smart precision, you enter a space where outside forces do not control your path anymore. Real power is not loud or flashy. It is controlled, intentional presence, awareness, and the careful shaping of your actions. Life's challenges, manipulation, and pressure become tools, tests, and opportunities instead of blocks. When you use these principles on purpose, you not only protect yourself from being used, but you also unlock potential influence and rewards that few people ever reach. In the end, mastery is choosing who you are, what you allow, and how you respond, turning your life from reactive survival into strategic, empowered fulfillment. Thank you so much for watching and taking the time to learn with me today. Your support really helps keep this focused on sharing real, useful knowledge in a clear and honest way. If you found this video helpful, do not forget to subscribe and join our learning community. And feel free to share your thoughts or questions in the comments. Your ideas help make every video better and more valuable for everyone.